Welcome back to the channel. What's popping on the tube? Can I roll on through? Who are you? The coolest dude. I'd like to thank you all for the likes, shares, and views. Subscribing to reactions from us made for you. You got to click that notification button too, so when we upload that new, you will know what to do. Keep back, relax, the visual satisfaction. It's the DOK, about to bang another reaction. Hey, what's poppin', everyone? Welcome to today's video. In this discussion, we're diving into the history of how African Americans have been treated in the Western world, from slavery and segregation to the fight for civil rights and ongoing struggles for equality, man. The journey of African Americans has been shaped by systemic oppression and racial injustice. We all familiar with that, you know what I mean? So join me as we explore the impact of these historical forces, examine their legacies, and discuss how they continue to affect society today. So we finna get into it right now, man, and I look at it like this. Only reason why they could basically be, practicing these type of, racism and evil deeds is for the simple fact that if all of us came together, because we all over the world, if we really all came together, you know what I'm saying? The real pharaohs and real kings, real, you know what I'm saying? Kings and however y'all want to put it. You know what I mean? I say that, man, that's what they scared of right there. That's what they scared of. The roles right now on how everything is right now should definitely be reversed. You know what I'm saying? Military should be us. Police, us. It's, and that's just being straight up. But we finna dig into this, man, because Farrakhan never stirred me wrong either. So we finna dig into this right quick, man, and see why they continue to treat us like that, man. The most talented race on earth. Come on, man. Let's get it in. Like, share, subscribe, baby. Let's go. I ain't gonna say nothing.
Have you ever wondered why history books seem to praise the West like it's the world's savior? How much of that can be true? What if we told you that it's all part of a well-crafted narrative designed to keep Black people right where the West wants them? Confused, subjugated, and obedient. It sounds crazy, but recently Minister Louis Farrakhan exposed the West, saying things you are not ready to hear. So, if you want to see how you have been manipulated by the West all these years, then watch the video till the very end. Or you can leave at any point if it gets too uncomfortable. Let's get started.
Go. Come on, man.
The Western world is the greatest liar in history. But here's the twist. It's not just about telling lies. It's about creating an entire system where deception becomes second nature. Minister Louis Farrakhan argues that the West didn't just stumble into its role as the world's master of manipulation. It was designed that way. Think about it, how else do you explain the centuries of domination, colonization, and exploitation? This isn't just about spinning tales of Western superiority. According to Farrakhan, it's a deliberate strategy that's been in play since the beginning. Enter the story of Yaqub, a Black scientist who, as the Nation of Islam teaches, created the white race over 6,000 years ago to produce a people designed to deceive and control. Now, whether or not you believe this story literally, the metaphor is clear. The white man's rise to power wasn't through brute force alone. It was through cunning, manipulation, and lies. Let's break it down further. Take the Western education system, for example. Ever wonder why the curriculum is filled with stories of European explorers discovering lands that were already populated? Or how about the fact that the only Black figures highlighted are often those who fit neatly into the narrative of peaceful resistance? The system is designed to keep Black people mentally enslaved, filling their minds with a history that erases their ancestors' achievements and keeps them looking to the West for validation.
Every time they show Africa, they attempt to show you our people in a savage condition.
That's fact.
They want you and me to focus our minds on that continent and that continent alone. Listen.
Hey, before he even finished, I'm gonna tell you like this. That's what they do. And they show us the poorest parts. But it's like, now, why they over there? You know what I'm saying? Because they got all that gold over there, all them diamonds over there, all, you know what I'm saying? Come on, man, stop playing with us. You know, you're trying to like show us that so we can be discouraged. And Africa is beautiful. Come on, man.
But this isn't just about the past. The West's tactics have evolved. Today, they control the narrative through the media, pumping out stories that demonize black nations while glorifying their own. Ever notice how quickly Western media jumps on stories of instability in Africa, yet conveniently ignores the chaos within their borders? Farrakhan's point is simple. The West will continue to lie as long as it serves their interests. But if the West's entire foundation is built on deception, what impact does that have on the psyche of black people? And more importantly, how deep does this deception run? Let's face it, physical chains may have been broken, but mental chains? Those are a lot harder to shake off. Farrakhan doesn't hold back when he talks about the slave mentality that still grips black people today. You see, after centuries of being told that your worth is tied to what the white man thinks, it's hard to unlearn that kind of conditioning. Imagine this. You're at an African-American summit. Powerful black leaders gather to discuss issues that affect their communities. Yet, there's a tension in the air, a reluctance to speak too boldly, too honestly. Why? Because there's always the fear that their words might offend their white benefactors. Farrakhan recounts this exact scenario, pointing out how black leaders often feel compelled to tiptoe around the truth even today. And it's not just in politics. Look at the entertainment industry, corporate America, or even academia. Black individuals are often put in positions where they feel they have to play nice to fit in. They're told to be grateful for the opportunities they've been given.
That's Puffy, Jay-Z, Oprah, you know what I'm saying? Tyler Perry, that all the billionaires. Yeah.
Even if those opportunities come at the cost of their integrity. It's like an invisible leash, tugging black people back whenever they get too close to true freedom. But let's get real. This slave mentality isn't just about fear. It's about internalized oppression. When you've been told for generations that you're less than, it's easy to start believing it. It's why so many black people, even those who are successful by Western standards, still feel like they have something to prove. They're playing a game rigged against them, convinced that if they just play it well enough, they'll finally be accepted. But here's the thing. True liberation can't come from appeasing the oppressor. It starts with reclaiming the mind. That's why Farrakhan's message is so powerful. He's calling for mental revolution, a breaking of the chains that have kept black people from seeing their true worth.
For Allah says in the Quran, I made you into tribes and families and nations that you may know one another and not despise one another. Wherever you see a proliferation of many tribes of one people, then the people have lost the light of civilization, because the light of civilization would cause an evolutionary motion in the people, which would bring them from a tribe into a nation.
But where does this journey of self-discovery lead? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Farrakhan refers to it as the original man. Here's a truth bomb for you. The black man and woman are the original humans on this planet. That's not just rhetoric. It's backed by science, anthropology, and archaeology. But here's the thing. The Western world has spent centuries hiding this fact, rewriting history to place themselves at the center of civilization. Every time you see a Hollywood film about ancient Egypt, who's playing the pharaohs? It's almost always white actors, right? But let's get real. Ancient Egypt, with its grand temples, advanced medicine, and incredible architecture was built by black hands. And that's just the beginning. Civilizations in West Africa, like Mali and Songhai, were pioneering universities, mapping the stars, and developing medicine while Europe was still fumbling through the Dark Ages. But why does the West go to such great lengths to bury this history? Simple, because knowledge is power. If black people understood that their ancestors were not just victims of colonization, but pioneers
to end all your woes,
civilization, it would shatter the narrative of Western superiority. Farrakhan drives this point home. Knowing your past is the first step toward reclaiming your future. But it's not just about history books and documentaries. The erasure of black history has real-world implications. When black people are disconnected from their roots, they are easier to manipulate. If you don't know who you are, it's a lot easier for someone to tell you who to be.
Man.
That's why reclaiming identity is not just about pride. It's about survival. Yet, as we'll see, the West hasn't just stolen history. They've built their entire civilization on the backs of black knowledge and innovation. So, what's the real story behind the so-called Western advancements? You know that old saying, history is written by the victors?
See, we was just infiltrated. And you know what I'm saying? And you can give us a little bit of money, which is a lot of money, because it's like Jay-Z a billionaire, Diddy a billionaire. They'll put you in those positions like that. But then you see how they can just snatch right back, take you right to jail, and then they seize your money and make it live in hell for you, man. Come on, man. It's like that's happening like right now on the news right now. When they told us, everybody stay in the house, wear a mask. You know what I'm saying? Or you get penalized for that. They told everybody in the world to put on a mask. Y'all better. And come on, man.
Well, it's more accurate to say that history is written by thieves. Farrakhan doesn't hold back in revealing how Western civilization has systematically looted the knowledge and achievements of black people, repackaging it as their own. Think of it as intellectual colonization. Let's take ancient Egypt, for instance. It's widely celebrated as the cradle of Western civilization. But hold up, wasn't Egypt in Africa? And weren't the people who built the pyramids black? Somehow, that part always gets left out of the narrative. Instead, we get fed stories about how the Greeks and Romans were the true geniuses of the ancient world, conveniently ignoring where they learned their craft. The great philosophers like Pythagoras, Socrates, and Plato, they were students of African scholars. But it doesn't stop at ancient history. The West has continued this intellectual theft into the modern age. Innovations in medicine, agriculture, and even technology have roots in Africa that are often erased or ignored. Ever heard of the Dogon people of Mali? They had mapped the Sirius star system centuries before European astronomers. Yet, textbooks rarely give them credit. Why is this important? Because the West's domination depends on convincing black people that they are inferior. If black people rediscover the greatness of their ancestors, they would realize they don't need Western approval to build something greater. This is why Farrakhan insists that reclaiming black knowledge is the ultimate act of defiance. But unity is the real key to turning the tide. But there's a brutal truth. If you want to control a group of people, the easiest way to do it is to turn them against each other. This isn't some new revelation.
The Crips, the Bloods, you got the Jamaicans, they robbing these dope dealers. They doing this, they unaliving these people, and they the same color, man. That's crazy. Just imagine, like they said, if we put all our energy together, all our money together, and I always say, like, damn, if we could go to our own, if we could just go all to Africa, just go home. Y'all leave us the fuck alone. Let us go home. Let us be over there doing what we do now. Be rich over there. Don't come over there. We'll be cool with that. That's for real. But God didn't want it like that. You know what I'm saying? And when you're talking about tribes, when you see there's 12 tribes of Israel, you know what I mean? So therefore, you might see a Mexican. You might see a white person, an Asian person, all that. They all for that one common God and goal, dog. It's not just that one set of race. It's your minds in this way. And then where everybody been or where everybody lived, it depends on how their skin turned out. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna come out with another little reaction about that. You know what I'm saying? Because they said something about that. We all one organism, come from one place, and it wasn't Adam and Eve. Put it like that. You know what I'm saying? Let's get back to this though. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Let's go though. We got to wake up, dog. You know what I'm saying? Teddy told us that. Marvin Gaye, what's going on?
It's an age-old tactic perfected by the West. And according to Farrakhan, the colonial powers didn't just stumble upon this strategy by accident. They meticulously planned it, using it to devastating effect across the African continent and beyond. Let's go back in time. During the colonial period, European powers carved up Africa like it was a pie at a Christmas dinner, drawing arbitrary borders that had nothing to do with the existing ethnic, tribal, or cultural lines. These borders were designed to keep people divided, ensuring that no single group could become powerful enough to challenge their colonial masters. But guess what? This strategy didn't end with the so-called independence of African nations. It's still at play today, in subtler but equally destructive forms. Think about it. Why is it that even today, conflicts in African nations are often portrayed as tribal or ethnic? It's because the West has a vested interest in keeping these divisions alive. As long as Black people are fighting amongst themselves, they'll never unite against their real oppressors. It's the classic game of divide and conquer. By stoking tensions and playing one group against another, the West ensures that Black nations remain politically unstable and economically dependent. But here's where it gets even more insidious. It's not just about politics or economics. It's about psychological warfare. The West uses its media machinery to amplify these divisions, portraying African nations as hotbeds of chaos while conveniently ignoring the fact that much of this chaos is a direct result of their meddling. Remember the narrative around failed states? It's always countries in Africa, the Middle East, or Latin America, but never the ones in the West, even though they're dealing with corruption, inequality, and internal strife of their own. Farrakhan's message is clear. If Black people want to truly break free from Western control, they have to stop letting the West pit them against each other. It's not about tribes, religions, or nationalities. It's about recognizing a shared struggle. But even unity isn't enough if Black people continue to rely on Western institutions for their spiritual and intellectual guidance. That's where reclaiming a deeper sense of identity comes into play. Let's get uncomfortable for a moment. What if we told you that the very religions that many Black people hold dear were weaponized against them? Yep, you heard that right. Farrakhan doesn't shy away from this explosive topic, arguing that Christianity, and to some extent, Islam, were tools used by the West to keep Black people subservient. Here's how it works. During the colonial era, European powers didn't just show up with guns and chains, they came with Bibles too. Missionaries were often the first to set foot in African villages, preaching about a savior who would reward obedience and punish rebellion. It was the perfect setup. Convince people that their suffering was part of a divine plan, and they'll accept their oppression with open arms. Think about it. How many times have you heard phrases like, "turn the other cheek," or "the meek shall inherit the earth"? These weren't just spiritual teachings. They were psychological tools designed to pacify the oppressed. The message was clear. Don't resist. Don't fight back. Just endure, and you'll be rewarded in the afterlife. But here's the harsh reality. That promise of heaven was a scam. The only people benefiting from that setup were the colonizers who got to exploit land, labor, and resources while keeping their victims docile.
Because who know when you go to heaven or hell? You know what I'm saying? You're on earth. When you die, you're gone. You don't know if you're going to heaven or nothing like that. Is it really, really real? I'm going to tell y'all, though, the aliens are our ancestors, though. You know what I'm saying? That's why they up there. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I just hope my alien ancestor will look out for me. You know what I'm saying? And my family. Let's get back to the story, man. I just wanted to say that, man. Hey, hey, the world is spooky. It's beautiful. and it's spooky though. But I'm gonna go out with like the Big Bang Theory. That's all I can say. If anything happened and it's just bad all around, I'm going out with a bang. That's all.
But Farrakhan doesn't stop there. He points out that even today, Western powers use religion as a means of control, whether it's through so-called charity organizations or faith-based initiatives. The West continues to meddle in the spiritual lives of Black people, pushing a narrative that equates submission with virtue. And let's not even get started on how Western media demonizes any Black leader who dares to mix faith with politics, unless, of course, they're parroting Western ideals. So, what's the way out? Farrakhan believes that it starts with reclaiming the true spiritual traditions that were stripped away during colonization. It's about finding faith that empowers, not faith that enslaves. But before Black people can fully embrace their spiritual freedom, they must first recognize the West's ultimate intention: to keep them forever in chains, both mental and physical. If there's one thing Farrakhan wants to hammer home, it's this: the West has no intention of ever letting Black people truly be free. Sure, they'll talk about progress, equality, and development. But beneath the surface, their game plan hasn't changed since the days of slavery. It's all about keeping Black people divided, dependent, and distracted. Let's connect some dots. Why is it that every time an African country starts to show signs of independence, there's suddenly a humanitarian crisis or a threat to democracy that justifies Western intervention? Coincidence? Hardly. It's all part of a strategy to ensure that Africa remains a playground for Western interests. Whether it's through sanctions, military interventions, or economic aid that comes with strings attached, the goal is to keep African nations on their knees. But Farrakhan takes it a step further. He argues that the West isn't just interested in controlling Africa's resources. They want to control the minds of Black people everywhere. This is why they invest so heavily in propaganda, using Hollywood, news media, and even social media platforms to push a narrative that glorifies Western culture while belittling African achievements. It's why you rarely hear about the technological advancements or cultural richness of African nations, unless it's being spun into some story of Western benevolence. And let's not forget the economic side of things. The West's entire economic system is designed to keep Black nations as exporters of raw materials, while importing finished goods at inflated prices. It's a cycle that keeps wealth flowing in one direction, away from Africa and into the coffers of Western corporations. Farrakhan's call to action is simple but powerful. It's time for Black people to wake up, recognize the game that's being played, and start playing by their own rules. But before we wrap up, let's address the final and perhaps most crucial question: can Black people unite and rise above the traps set for them by the West? Farrakhan doesn't just leave us with a critique. He offers a vision for the future. And that vision revolves around unity. But not the kind of superficial unity that politicians love to talk about. No, he's talking about a deep, unshakable solidarity that transcends borders, religions, and even languages. Imagine this. What if Black people around the world, whether they're in Lagos, Kingston, Atlanta, or Paris, decided to put aside their differences and work together toward a common goal? The West would be powerless to stop it. That's why they go to such great lengths to keep Black people divided. They know that a united Black front would be unstoppable. Farrakhan's challenge is clear. It's not enough to know the truth. You have to act on it. It's not enough to be angry at the system. You have to build a new one. The West has spent centuries convincing Black people that they are weak, divided, and dependent. But the truth is, Black people have the power to reshape the world if they can just see past the lies and recognize their strength. So, here's the question that should keep you up at night. Are you ready to break free from the mental and physical chains that the West has placed on you? Let us know in the comment section. Will you continue to fall for their tricks, their lies, and their empty promises? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
A design to keep you down, you know what I'm saying? But we up out of here. It was self-explanatory. I don't even gotta like end it off with nothing but, hey, we need to come together. That's all I can say. And those that don't like us, don't love us, stay away from us. Don't insult us. Just stay away from us. Don't have nothing to do with us. But for the ones that do love us, hey man, you part of that tribe, baby. We up out of here, man. God loves. You know what I mean? Holla at your boy.